In this video, I'm going to show you how to make multiple different features that you can attach onto a mug to turn it into an ugly mug. I'm starting with a nose, and currently I am making the bridge of the nose, or the long section of your nose. At this point, I dropped the coil on the floor, and that's why you see nothing. So there is the bridge of my nose. Next, I'm going to make my nostrils. And to make nostrils, you need to just make little clay spheres. You're probably going to want them about the same size because your nostrils are about the same size, but it's really up to you since this is going to be an ugly mug. So now I have the bridge of my nose and two nostrils. I'm also going to make a smaller clay sphere for the tip of my nose. So those are the four pieces that will go into making my nose. And now to create it, I am going to start attaching them to my hypothetical mug here. I'm just using some extra clay to attach it on. But when your clay is relatively the same softness, you really don't need to worry about slipping and scoring. So you can see me, I am just placing the clay on, and I'm really taking my time to smooth it out onto that other clay body that is the same softness of clay. So I have the bridge of my nose and the tip of my nose on. Now I am going into my nostrils, really taking some time to smooth things out, make sure things are not cracked, they're all nice and smooth, and that everything is connected together nice and well since we are not slipping and scoring. You're going to want to take your finger, if you have nails it's going to be a bit harder, and indent those spheres to create the nostrils as I'm doing here. And then you have a nice nose for your ugly mug, just like so. Really take your time to smooth it out so that things look nice and neat. I could probably smooth the bottom there a bit more. There we go. And making sure everything is nice and connected. And there we have our nose. The next step is going to be to create, I'm just going to make a singular eyeball to begin with, and to do that you're going to need a clay sphere and a couple of clay coils. And dependent on how big you want your eyeball is dependent on how big your sphere is. So you're going to do the same process where you're attaching the similar clay softness together. You can see in this demonstration that I make it too big. I don't like it, so I rip it off and I start over again, making the eyeball a bit smaller, but again, attaching it in that same process. I use a smaller tool just to get it nice and attached along the edge of the sphere there, but again, I'm using my finger to smooth things out and make sure it's nice and even. So I put a coil on the bottom for the bottom eyelid, again going through that process of smoothing it out, making sure everything is nice and even. Now I am going in with the top eyelid, adding a bit bigger of a coil and pushing it down slightly so the eye looks slightly ajar. But then as I smooth everything out, I am done with that first eyeball. Could probably go back and smooth a few more things, but overall I'm happy with it for this demonstration. Next, I'm going to show you how to create lips for a mouth, and for that you are going to need a few coils. I am using 3 so that I can create the curve at the top of our lips that most of us have anyways. So what I'm doing, I'm sorry that it's off camera a bit there, but I am attaching one of those coils on just beneath the nose. And I'm creating it in a curved fashion to create that type of curve that we have within our own lips. But again, I'm taking the time to smooth things out, use different tools to make sure that there's no scratch marks, anything like that within my clay. Grabbing another coil to create the other half of my top lip. Again, taking my time to smooth things out, ensuring things look nice and neat. So I would just have a variety of tools on hand to help you smooth and attach things together. Now for the bottom lip, I'm just going to make a bit bigger of a coil, and I'm going to place it right underneath those two I first made, and again, smoothing things out, smoothing out the cracks, smoothing the clay onto the mug itself so that it stays on there. But then there you go. There are my lips. The last thing I'm going to do to finish off this ugly mug is to create my other eyeball. And I'm going to follow that same process of starting with a clay sphere, attaching that onto my work, and then smoothing it onto my mug's surface. Now, with an ugly mug, things don't have to be perfect. Your eyeballs don't have to be perfectly symmetrical. One could be closed, one could be giving the stink eye, one could be angry, the other one could be droopy, maybe one there is no eyeball in it, it's just an empty socket. Same with the nostrils and the lips and things like that. You're not really striving for perfection as far as symmetry and making your face look super, super nice. It is, after all, an ugly mug, but you are striving for smoothness, craftsmanship, things like that. So in the end, it does look nice and neat. So you can tell in this video I'm taking my time. I've sped things up a bit so that the video isn't quite as long. But I really am taking my time to go back in, use different tools, use different things that I have available to me to really ensure that this is done to the best of my ability. Just to have a fun little mug to show off in the end. I'm kind of using my fingernail to deepen the grooves of that. In the end, there's probably some things I would have changed about this, but it's a good practice and starting point for learning how to attach things onto a mug. You can also get super creative, add a tongue, add ears, add blemishes, all sorts of fun, crazy things, teeth, to make this unique and as ugly as you possibly can.